Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I will tell you about evolution of GitLab frontend and also how we use Vue.js at GitLab. My name is Fatih Acet. I'm a senior frontend engineer at GitLab. I'm a Google developer expert on web technologies. You can find me on GitHub, GitLab, Twitter, and also on other social media with the handle Fatih Acet. Yes. So before we start talking about, I want to tell you what is GitLab. GitLab is an open source software development tool which provides a single application for every step of your DevOps lifecycle. And GitLab's goal to make your software development faster, so you can spend more time on your project, on your application, and you can focus to what you need to be done. We divided this DevOps lifecycle into different categories like plan, manage, create, verify, secure, package, and we provide tools for every step of this DevOps lifecycle. For example, with manage, plan, and create, you can create your first issue on GitLab, and then you can start creating your project, and then you can use the verify tools like continuous integration to see that your project works really fine. And then you can see the security reports on GitLab, and you can package your project within GitLab, for example, the tools like container registry, and then you can also deploy that to production. And after that point, you can also have the tools to configure your environments, and also you can also monitor your your product on GitLab. We provide the tools for every step of these. Let's take a look at the project, how GitLab looks right now. This is the repository view where you can find where you can see your projects and files and folders or the SSH addresses and the overall details of your project of your project. That works sometimes, yeah. This is the issue boards. It's something like Trello, where you will find your issues, and you can drop the issues around across the boards to manage your work, manage your issues, and to help your build your release better. And this is the merge request view. This is the merge request tab where you can see your merge request details, where you can review your code. You can collaborate on that. You can create discussions on the merge request, and then if you accept the merge request, you can merge it into the master repository. So this is the merge request view. And this is where you can see the pipelines, which is the CI and CD tool right in GitLab. It is like Travis CI, but this also allows you to deploy your application to different stages, different environments. You will also see the builds when you push a code to your branch, or when you open a merge request. You will see that the pipeline is running with the errors, and if it's all good, you can accept the merge request. Let's a little bit talk about the company itself. GitLab has 365 team members from 45 countries, and it will look on the map something like this. We have pretty much everywhere in the world. We have friends, we have team members everywhere in the world. And one cool thing is GitLab. GitLab is a remote-only company with no office location. I relocated to Amsterdam almost a year ago. I was working remotely from my home in Istanbul 2 years for GitLab, and I moved to Amsterdam, still working from my home. It's really great. We currently have 20 front-end engineers, and we are growing. We are thinking to hire, I think, 6-7 more engineers at the end of this year. If you take a look at the flags in here, so we have friends from Portugal, Mexico, Australia, South Africa, United Kingdom, USA, Germany, and pretty much, again, all around the world. One cool thing I want to mention about GitLab is GitLab, the software is open source, and company is also open to public, open in core. We have this really definitive guide about how we run company, how we, for example, how we manage our engineering team, or how we do with the benefits of the people, or the time of policy, stuff like that. Everything about the company itself is documented here, and it is a huge resource. You can read everything about the finance, sales, product. Even you can read the legal stuff with this company handbook, which is really a huge guide how we run the company. So let's talk about the front end. I joined the GitLab on May 2016, and at that time, GitLab was using something called Ruby on Rails asset pipeline. Because GitLab is a Ruby on Rails application, and at that time they wanted to go with the asset pipeline, which is a tool like Webpack, but it's bundled in Ruby on Rails. It is hard to configure. It is actually something really nice, but it doesn't scale. If your application grows faster, you may want to have the proper tools for front end. It is good, but yeah, it doesn't scale because it is hard to update. So you need to update the Rails gem. You need to do, it's hard to configure and stuff like that. So we had that on May 2016. And our code base was more like a jQuery-based code base. And it was looking something like this. A lot of DOM manipulations, click that, get the data attribute, reset that, trigger input, event management, and all those jQuery crap. And then we also had the Haml templates, which is the templates works with best with Ruby on Rails, actually Ruby itself. They are basically the templates, server-side templates, and server will render the templates, and then server will deliver the rendered HTML to client-side, and then we add the jQuery stuff on top of that, as you see in the previous screenshot. That's basically how it looks like. A lot of logic, backend logic in that the templates. When server render the template, it will deliver to rendered HTML to client side, and then we add jQuery on top of it. We also had inline JavaScript in Haml, which is, I think, the easiest way to share some variables or instantiate a page in a Ruby on, not Ruby on Rails, but let's say a legacy application. It's not the best way to do that because it is, and it was looking something like this. For example, if you can see the, here, it says JavaScript. It's a JavaScript tag to window, and then window.gl, GFM, GitLab flavored markdown, autocomplete equals something like this, and that data sources. You cannot see that because it's it looks like commented out, but it's not actually. It's because of the highlighting. And this is a variable. It says data sources.toJSON, which Ruby will render them and add to the data sources object of GFM autocomplete into the window. This is really bad. It is because if you want to find where the data source is defined, you have to go and check the Ruby files, and it's hard to find, it's hard to maintain, and it also can introduce security bugs and stuff like that. So that's not a good way to do that. And we also had CoffeeScript back at that time. CoffeeScript was really popular before 2016, 2014, 15. And GitLab started to written with CoffeeScript because Ruby on Rails was coming with CoffeeScript. But it was hard to find contributors because everyone knows JavaScript, but they either don't know to write CoffeeScript, or they don't want to contribute the CoffeeScript project. And then we decided to switch to ES6 and replaced CoffeeScript with ES6 on June 2016. We basically, there is a command in terminal, says coffee, which will get the file and then convert it to JavaScript file. And then we basically did pretty much the same thing. We did it for every single file, and then we saved them and deleted all the coffee files. we started to living with auto-compiled auto-compiled JavaScript code for a long time, and then when we touched that, we started to make the file better. So it was a kind of a bad situation after when we do that, but it was something that we need to do, and the reason why we basically converted every CoffeeScript file to JavaScript, it was because the CoffeeScript binary also does that, and when we do that, we push the code to a branch, and we saw that the pipeline is already green. No failures, no nothing, because it's how our application was already working. And then we added to ESLint to our code base. In a bigger project, if the let's say 20 people touch the same code, it is a really great way to force linting, force code styling, and ESLint helped a lot in this direction. If you push a unlinted code, or for example, the indentation is wrong, or there is no new line at the end of the file, so the pipeline will fail, and that code will not be merged into master. And then we said that Rails asset pipeline is really nice, but we need proper front-end tooling. And then in November 2016, we decided to switch from Rails asset pipeline to Webpack. And then we also replaced Teaspoon, Rails Gem, which is the test runner for asset pipeline, comes with asset pipeline, and we replaced it with Karma. Mike, he did that really great contribution, and it made our development much more faster. And then we switched to Yarn on 2017. Back at that time, NPM does not have the package lock JSON file, and then we wanted to the lock mechanism introduced with Yarn, so that's why we switched from NPM to Yarn. Maybe right now it may not be necessary because NPM also has the package lock mechanism, so you can go with the NPM. And then August 2016, we added Vue.js to our front end. And then a few months later, we upgraded to version 2. I will tell you why did we choose Vue.js. As I mentioned before, Webpack and NPM was not a part of our front-end stack. And if you compare the Vue, Angular, and React, you will see that React and Angular, and especially React and Angular, requires tooling. For example, it requires Webpack, it requires NPM. We didn't have that NPM at that time. So Vue was like adding a Vue.min.js minified Vue into your application, and you can start working with that. We had the first version, we had the templates of Vue in Rails side, and then we compiled them on the runtime, and then we improved that. We removed the compiler, but it was really easy for us to start with Vue. And that was one of the biggest reasons why we choose Vue. You guys know that we are in a big competition with our competitors, and it is basically we don't have time to rewrite stuff. We didn't want to. The tool we choose will require us to rewrite everything, or will require dramatical changes, too much changes on our current infrastructure. So Vue was good enough to play with our existing application. Some part is jQuery and some part is Vue. Vue is good enough to do that for us. And Vue also is a progressive framework. Like, again, it didn't ask too much changes in our current code base. We add the Vue, and we started to creating Vue components on the page. It was basically working nice with the rest of the application. And then for the for the progressive part, we made it better when we also continue developing with that. For example, we removed the runtime template compiler, and it brings a lot of performance improvements. We compile the template on build time. Vue when you compare the sizes and performance, Vue was the much smaller and also faster than the alternatives. And when you take a look at the Vue, it has the most steepest learning curve. It's easy to learn. Its documentation is amazing. So it allowed our team members to contribute faster. And great ecosystem and the community. And this, you guys remember that there is a license issue with React itself, and we are open source software, and you can basically, we distribute our software every month. We release a new version every month, so license should not be an issue, cannot be an issue for us. And Vue was not an issue with that. So we'll talk about how we do Vue. We use Vuex for state management. I think the good thing is Vuex comes with the patterns, and it decides, it creates a flow, how you update your application, how you use your application. This is pretty much the same screenshot where you can find. Vue defines these concepts, dispatch, this concept actions, mutations, state, and these blue, not the blue, green. This green box is Vuex context. For example, a Vue component, when something happens on the Vue component, for example, user clicks a button, component dispatches an action. This action can be asynchronous, so it can connect to, it can talk to the backend API, back and forth. For example, it can make a request, and then got the response. This action commits a mutation here, and then this mutates the state. And when state is changed, because we use reactive, it will re-render the component, and the life cycle is completed. This is pretty much the how Vuex work, and of course we use like in that way. We use standalone, single page-like smart components. They are basically the component. They can fetch their own data. They can decide their own state. They can create their own life cycles in the application alongside with the jQuery stuff and all those legacy applications. It will look something like that. This is the merge request page. This, as you can see here, this is the merge request widget, which is a component, and this is a discussion component. And yeah, these three also on the sidebar, they are all Vue components. So in this page, these parts, for example, this one and that one, for example, that button is still a jQuery handler, but the yellow boxes, they are Vue components. They have their own life cycle. What the server does, server basically creates a div for us, which is an empty placeholder. And then when the page is loaded, we say that create a new Vue instance and mount it here, here, and there. So that's how we do Vue in GitLab alongside with our legacy, our ongoing application. This is the discussions page. This is the changes page of where you can see the changes. And this also has the Vue component. And as you can see, this is also the component where you see in the discussions tab. We reuse the component here. It's pretty much the same how we do that. And also we have the discussion counter here. When you add a discussion here, or for example, when you unresolve this one, so the counter will be one of two discussions resolved. And the green check will not be a green. In that page, I show you multiple Vue components. And to share the data between them, we have Vuex store. And for example, we have Vuex store with modules itself. This, for example, we have merge request page module, which knows the state of the page. This is the notes module. It stores the discussions and resolvability and all those stuff. This is a diffs module. where you will see the div files, div discussions, and stuff like that. This is the batch commands. This is something new feature we are building. It's already merged into master, but it is behind the flag. It will allow you to add the comments and then publish them all together. That's a really nice feature coming next to, I think, in the next version of GitLab, will be available publicly. The modules approach here allowed us to share data between these different components. For example, Notes module knows every discussion on the page, and only the div discussions, you add to a div, can be shared with this divs module. So we can access the store, we can get the divs, we can get the div discussions, and then we can use it right here with the divs module. This is a really good way of reusing data between different components. This is the folder structure. We have a separate folder for components, mixins, services. They make the request back and forth with the backend API. We also have a stores folder with the modules in it, constants, event hub, and index.js. Pretty much the same across all different features. I will want to talk about how we test Vue components. This is the portion of code. There will be 3 screenshots like that. For example, this is how we will do a to-do app test, how we will write a to-do app test. Before each, we say create a new mock adapter because we use Axios for requests, and we want to mock that in tests. Before each of every test, we create a mock adapter, and we extend the component to have the component itself, and then we say VM equals, VM comes from here, and this will be available in every test. VM equals new component $mount. And then with this, we mount the component, and it's ready to be used in every test. And after each, we restore the mock, and we destroy the component. It's because we don't want to new tests share the same data, and the mock responses will be different for other tests. And then this is how we write the test. It should blah, 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 and we say expect VM $L query selector this to be defined. The thing we did with the Vue tests, we test the output of the component, the rendered output of the component. It is because if you, for example, in this test, what we do is, while we are requesting to server, while the request is still going, we are asserting that there is a loader, spin loader will be visible in the component. So this allows us to check that there's a loading in the component, and after we fetch the data, that loading will not be available. But this will be the other test. We are using single file components, but without the style tag. The single file components Vue allows .vue files. Vue allows you to define the template, script, and style in the same file. But we don't use the style. It is because our application was an ongoing application, and our styles, SCSS files, are already in somewhere else, in the SCSS folder, all of them in there. And we didn't want to have a Vue component styling in there, in the Vue components, but the rest of the styling in there. So this will be inconsistent. Some of the CSS lives in here, and some of the CSS lives in here. Instead, we decide that okay, we will do that in here, but the style and template but the script and template will be in the single file components. We build new features with Vue. We still have, like I would say, at least 50% of not maybe 40% of GitLab is still uses jQuery. It's not that something we can sit down and rewrite right now. But if we want to build a new feature, we do them with Vue. And if we, the only decision to rewrite something with Vue is if we want to extend that feature, we decide to rewrite. For example, the discussions I showed you or the diffs were basically server rendered parts, but we wanted to have the batch commenting on top of the discussions, and then we decided that doing it with jQuery doesn't feel correct about that, so we said that, okay, first we will rewrite this with Vue, and then we will build the batch commenting on top of that. Only the new things and the things we want to improve will be rewritten with Vue. Yeah, we rewrite all parts when only needed. That's all that I'm talking about. So what is the outcome? What we have after this switch? We started to write less code. It is because if you press a button, and let's say if you want to remove 3 items, let's say you have 5 items list, and if you want to remove these 3 items, doing that with jQuery, you need to select the DOM, you remove them, and then if there is some errors on the screen, you also need to remove them and stuff like that. That's how you do that, how you do it with jQuery. But Vue, we only needed to change the object or the array we have, the data we have, and then Vue will re-render the page, and we don't need to worry about are they really removed from the page or the latest state on the page is correct or something like that. So we started to write less code. Of course, less code means hopefully less bugs. And bugs were easier to fix because the logic was simple, and we also have the less code. One good thing is we started to have reusable components. As I showed you before, we first rewrite the discussions, and then we took the discussion component into the diffs screen, and we started to reuse them in there without doing that again for the different pages. Also, Vue allowed us to work on real-time updates faster. It is because, for example, let's say that the pipeline screen I showed you before, there's a list of pipelines. Let's say you open the page, and then someone also pushed another branch or created another merge request, and a new pipeline started. All we need to do is basically just push an object at the beginning of the array, and we will re-render it. Because when you update the data, Vue re-renders, and this allowed us to start working on the real-time updates much sooner than we expected. For example, if the pipeline is finished, all you need to do is update the data, and we will re-render it with the correct state. Future plans. We are trying to make GitLab faster with every release. So making faster is our highest priority. And we try to make it reusable. We are creating a design system called GitLab UI. This will be reusable components, but we are not doing that with we are not doing that by reinventing the wheel. It's basically the components uses the Bootstrap under Bootstrap 4 under the hood, but they are Vue wrappers of them. And we want to have the better tooling to optimize our workflow and automate things, because in a big company, automating things is something really nice, because when you want to work on that, you don't need to worry how to set up that or how to work on that. Just you give the instructions and it works fine. Oops. Yes. And as I already mentioned that, we are planning to expand our front-end team by hiring new engineers. It's not only the front-end team. At GitLab, we are hiring in multiple positions for development, security, support, and this is the screenshot of 2000 July, 26th of July. Sorry, not 2000, 26th of July. Yeah, I think we have more than 60, 70 open positions, also on front end, also on back end, cloud native, engineering manager, senior database engineer, and stuff like that. So we are planning to grow our team. So if you consider to join the GitLab, you're welcome. So questions?